I have a report you might find interesting. It tells of a chasm in the Vinmark Mountains, and a secret that was said to be buried within. Yet when the Chantry went to investigate, they were turned away by the Grey Wardens.
And why would I find that interesting?
Because the champion was there. I can't help but notice you failed to mention this adventure.
Oh, that? I didn't think you'd be interested. Just some business with Hawke's family. A few Carter dwarves who went too far. You're not going to believe me.
I'll take my chances.
All right. Don't say I didn't warn you. There it is.
It doesn't look all that dwarven.
These are Carter dwarves, so they're more criminals and smugglers than anything else. They're not usually stupid, though. I don't know why they'd attack you.
It doesn't make any sense. They've come after you. They've come after me. What do they want?
I can't think of anything we did to make the Carter angry. Today, anyhow.
You have a plan, then? I found their hideout, but my sources couldn't tell me anything else. It's all very strange.
Why do you say that? It's just the Carter, isn't it?
As far as my contacts in the Carter know, they shouldn't be here. There shouldn't even be a here. This place is invisible. A big blind spot on the map. Bianca's never been this suspicious, and she's twitchy to start with.
Does it matter? We just need them to stop trying to kill us.
A fine point. So, what's the plan?
Oh, I'm sure this is all a misunderstanding. Later, we'll all have tea and we'll laugh.
Oh, your name is Hawke. I thought it was Locke.
Yes, it's all a big joke. Typical.
Oh, don't get your knickers in a knot, Junior.
Well, at least we found it before they did something to Mother.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Legacy DLC, where we're gonna solve some family issues for Hawke before going into the deep roads.
Someone doesn't like intruders.
They're from the Merchants Guild. The Carter doesn't kill guild members. That's really strange.
So I always choose to do this DLC at the very end of Act 1, right before you go into the deep roads, because it just fits a bit better narratively to play it at this juncture than any other time in the game. You'll see exactly why as we progress the storyline and figure out why exactly the Carta is after Hawke's family.
It's the Hawk!
Listen,
I think they know we're here.
it's the Carter. They've seen us.
They'll alert others to our presence.
Thank you for that very useful insight. Let's chase after this man into danger. This little Carter dude just, but look, he's fast for a dwarf. Let him go.
The time has come!
Can you hear that? We'd best be careful.
Yeah, weird shouts like that usually aren't a good sign of anything sane going on. Usually is signs that the people you're dealing with are in some sort of cult and leading you into a trap.
You, the brother and sister both, you're here together. You've come!
Is he referring to you and me?
Everyone! It's the children of Malcolm Hawke! They've come to us!
What does my father have to do with this?
It began with him and ends with you. Blood for blood, that's what we were told.
Did Father cross the Carter somehow?
You've come to us now, and that's the only thing that matters.
You come after my family, you pay the price.
We must have the blood. You don't understand.
Oh, blood. Why didn't you just ask?
We will take it. Corypheus will walk in the sun once more.
Yeah, definitely a cult. Trying to get your blood for some ritual. Also, that dwarf's eyes look mighty blighted to me. That's usually a sign that they're going to turn into ghouls. And not the cool Fallout type. And as you see, we have Carver with us. because it's family drama, so we gotta bring the family party member with us. And he gets a lot of extra special dialogue for this DLC, and I believe this is the only way to completely switch Carver's affinity from rival all the way to friendship, like maxed out friendship. Because in the base game, there's not enough opportunities to actually level him that far. Even if you like min-max it as much as you possibly can, it still doesn't work to max him out fully. It's also just more interesting to see the interaction with Carver around and their two different takes on this current situation with their family. The other party members we have with us right now are Varric, because there's quite a bit of this that involves him as well, especially kind of near the beginning. And there's a special quest for him too down in the Deep Roads that's interesting. It also makes the most sense for me to bring him along, as he is the storyteller of the champion, what happened to Hawk. And this seems like an event that he would have definitely been present for, especially just kind of as we go into the next game and see what happens there. Varric is also present in both Inquisition and the upcoming Veilguard. So we're gonna see him a lot, and this is a big character development moment. It's probably one of the few stories that Varric doesn't embellish a lot.
Did you hear? They're after us. For our blood. But why?
Crazy people like blood. A lot.
Clearly these dwarves are insane. Perhaps even more so than Varric.
I heard that. Ricarda doesn't normally act like this. They're businessmen.
I'd like to know who this Corypheus is. With a name like that, he's bound to go mwahaha at some point. I just know it. And really? More blood? Why can't it ever be spit? Or a lock of hair?
You really want to encounter a spit mage?
For variety, sure.
Love the different party banters you can get for this DLC depending on who you bring, and how they get extended depending on who's in the party. And it's another reason why I choose the people that I do for this run of the DLC. Amgithorn the Waste Yard. You who must serve beneath the empty sky, you stand between this poison and the stone. The ancestors will remember when all others have forgotten your name. Remember your oath. It must endure even beyond death itself. Be vigilant. If the pestilent one awakens, you will know it by these signs. The air will fill with the scent of putrefaction. You will hear a sound like the cadence of drums. Malvernus the Defiler will try to weaken your will and compel you to bear the orb of Amgithorn, but you must hold fast. This is the sacred duty that cannot be forsworn, lest the stone fall to poison and death.
A dwarven prison?
Dwarves don't do prisons, Elf. This is a trash heap. They threw something away here and hoped it wouldn't come back.
Varric speaks truth, because back in Origins, yeah, if you don't go through the Dwarven Commoner route, once you get down to the Dwarven prison where you're supposed to be held, the person's still there that was with you, and you see the dead Dwarven Commoner in one of the other cells who did not make it, because they just kind of dumped them down there. Amgithorn the Lonely Vigil. One watcher each generation will be chosen from the warrior caste. He will stand guard until his death. Only the constant vigilance of the Stone's children can keep the foulness of Malvernus at bay. The burden of living in exile beneath the sun is terrible, but this sacrifice, this Amgithorn, will ensure the sanctity of the stone forever. Valos Atredo.
How many generations of warriors stood guard here? Why does that make me nervous?
Yeah, I'd feel especially nervous because they clearly aren't here right now. Right now, It's the Carta. And I believe the Carta is mostly made up of caste list. I could be wrong about this, but I think so. Amgithorin the Foul. We called it Malvernus, the Pestilent One. It devoured Tigers, turning our fairest work into a noxious waste. It consumed living warriors, turning their bodies to slime, and when its hunger was not abated, it consumed the bones of our ancestors. Foulness came from its touch, poison and filth and desecration. It threatened even the stone itself, the shapers bound it, chained in lyrium, stained with the blood of 100 warriors. But within the orb, it hungered, it waited. We carried it here to the wasteland of the surface, where it can threaten nothing of value. The stone will live, the stone must live. We have sworn to defend it from the Foul One at any price.
Someday I'll visit a place with no ancient evils, horrors, devouring plagues, or insanity. Maybe a beach.
The day you go to the beach would be the day an armada of angry demon pirates show up.
Why you gotta point that out, Varric? It's true, but why you gotta point it out?
Will you look at that?
A fortress? Here, in the middle of nowhere.
So another thing about the DLCs is both of them... Oh look, another dwarf dude running us into a trap. You can actually see down there the little
Watch where you step
in the ground. Where the trap is.
Easy as pie.
Please get Varric to take care of this. Another thing about the DLCs is they were made way more difficult than the main campaign is. I think it's because they expected most people to play it at the very end of the main story rather than mixed in throughout, especially considering these came out like way after the original game was released. But they are quite the challenge, especially when playing on higher difficulty modes. It can be tough to get through, so you definitely want to have your tactics set up. You want to look. Even Varric got taken down right now. I'm playing on easy mode right now for our casual mode. It's like story time mode, and still we're getting our butts kicked. But you want to make sure your tactics are all set up so you don't have to micromanage as much, or just micromanage a whole lot. But you're gonna be pausing like every few seconds, if that's the case. And make sure you have enough healing potions, enough lyrium potions, stamina potions for everything, because it's gonna drain resources like crazy. And you definitely... Varric's line right there, it's killed me. He said please learn to parry. But yes, you want to make sure you have at least one person who is a healer. It will make your life a lot easier. So if it's not a Mage Hawk, then it's most likely just going to be Anders in your party. And Anders does have a lot of cool, unique dialogue for this DLC. So even if you don't bring him on your first one, I recommend bringing him at some point or just going through it again with him just to see what happens. If you are still having some problem with these DLCs and the difficulty, I highly recommend bringing Aveline as your main tank, as if you buff her up in a specific way to make her just mostly constitution, she can, and like just to boost her health and stuff, she can tank just about anything and not even take that much damage. And certain skills she has will take damage away from other parties members and put them onto her, making your more like squishy members like Varric or your mages be able to last a bit longer before falling, especially if you're relying on them for heals. I then recommend taking at least one mage of your choice, preferably one that can heal, and then whoever is your strongest DPS. As long as you have those three things, you're set up. Varric is very good at this because he has a lot. You can spec him into a lot of skills that can get rid of aggro on other party members because he's a rogue and because he is naturally long distance and long range. He can stay out of the fight more, which keeps him further away from aggro range for as long as possible. during the tougher fights, especially if Aveline's grabbing it most of the time.
Why do the Carter have such a personal interest in you?
You have any idea why the Carter's after you, Hawk?
I don't care why the Carter made it personal, so long as we end it.
They even changed the little like idle dialogue when you click on your party members for this. They didn't have to do that. They really didn't. They could have kept it as like the same basic dialogue if you like click on them any other time. But they made it specific for the DLC, which I like. It's just little things that make it much better.
Maybe we don't need Bartrand's stupid expedition. There must be something valuable down here.
Honestly, if you hoard your money enough, this can definitely push you over the edge of what you would have gotten from just Bartrand's expedition. You get so much money from this. If you just kind of hoard all of your gold and don't spend it on a lot of stuff, you could definitely have more than Bartrand's expedition could give you. And yeah, this never looked good. This isn't a good thing to walk into. But you can pull that little lever and there just happen to be standing over all those spikes. And that gets a good chunk of damage to a lot of them. Oh, see, that assassin almost like took me out in one hit. Which is like how difficult that is. This is such a tough fight. Like everything here has been buffed up. And we're still just at the opening section of this DLC. We have not even moved into like the deeper areas where things get like much more difficult. We haven't even gotten to the end boss of this. But for some reason these Cardiff dudes are just wrecking us. When in the main campaign, they're like chumps. You can take them out pretty easily. Like on your own. And in a party of 4, they're giving you a trouble here.
I'm surprised you agreed to come, Varric. You hate being underground, and you avoid the Carter the same way you do the Merchant Guild.
There's no way I'd miss watching you make these motherless nug-lickers cry.
How is it you get into these situations so often?
What do you mean?
Attacked by dwarves, approached by strangers, stumbling upon ancient riddles? Madness.
It's a gift.
Well, I think you should return it.
I agree. Fenris can be so fun sometimes. He got layers, man. He be goofy sometimes too. It's not all broody elfness. That's why he's the best elf. The only one.
You must hate the Darkspawn, after what they did to your home.
And to Bethany.
Well, I hate them a lot.
I never knew her. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
See, that was nice. That was a kind little empathetic thing to do. Cinematic view of the final section of the game. So we gotta get way over there. That's a nice view though. I'm glad they showed it off. But we gotta get way over there. And we just over here.
So, Varric, this spy network of yours...
Oh, this I have to hear.
You don't have one, do you? You make it all up.
Could be. That or I have an army of elven urchins. They're all watching.
Yeah, sometimes Dragon Age has a problem with unfortunate dialogue triggers that are right next to enemy triggers or cutscene triggers that will just mess up the party banter entirely. And there's not much you can do about it. Says you're like, you know what? I'm not resetting just for that. It happened. You can still kind of hear it. There's subtitles for a reason.
Pull out the Brontos. We need the Hawk alive.
Bro, you have already been sending Brontos out after us. What are you talking about? How many Brontos do you have? It's funny how you walk in here and the guards legit just kind of sleeping. I guess crazy cultists need rest too. Those are the blades just traps. You can't even stop them. Again, I will be skipping multiple combat scenarios for the sake of time when I'm editing this, because a lot of it's just, not that interesting. To capture the hawk. Small hovel in Lowtown. Owner 1 Gamlin Amel. Take the youngest 2, but do not harm them. The blood of Malcolm Hawk must remain pure. Do as you wish with the old man and woman. They are of no consequence. In the name of the Master Corypheus, may he see sunlight again.
These bastards want to steal our blood. What is it with this town? And why do they care about father?
The Master Corypheus. Clearly, these dwarves have found a demon to worship. But why would it seek your blood?
I guess we only get that answer from Corypheus.
However, I don't know why you're so surprised. We kind of already established they were after our blood for reasons unknown. But now we have a reason, and that reason is a demon. And we don't deal with demons in this household.
When you tell people about our escape from Lothar, why do you make it sound like I had food all over my face?
You're larger than life, Hawk. I had to give you a few flaws just to make you approachable.
Did you just call me fat?
Yes, that's pretty much how I tell it. Hawk rolled into the fray like a gigantic pudding covered in gravy. It's more dramatic that way.
Does it have to be gravy? Couldn't it be chocolate instead?
Everyone's a critic. This is great. Now I can tell Bartrand you're an experienced Deep Roads explorer.
That's right, sometimes you just gotta fudge the resume a little bit.
You, Elf, are one lucky son of a bitch.
Is this about the Diamondback game? Again?
I've never seen anyone bluff like that in my life. I was sure you had a handful of nothing.
So was I. You're the one who pointed out I had 4 serpents.
See? Luckiest bastard I've ever seen.
Those two must constantly be gambling at Fenris's house or the Hangman or something. A lot of their dialogue just involves either winning or losing at card games. Of course, they're betting money on.
I get the Hawk's blood. Radigan says I can go into the tunnels and drink of the Master. We must wait in silence. The Master commands it. I hate how all of you get to hear his voice. I never do.
The cultists are bickering. That's kind of a good thing, usually for us, unless they start summoning demons. Then not so good. Then we just gotta get caught up in it, and it's just a worse situation all around. Praise Corypheus. Like many of you, I was once a thieving wretch. I was servant to a coin and my own base desires. And that is when I heard his call. Corypheus opened my eyes, just as he has opened yours, and showed me what was true. What is the Carta besides Corypheus? Nothing but dust and ashes. Only Corypheus is eternal. We are his hands and his eyes on the surface. We are ones he honored with his trust, to dig him from his prison in the deep roads. When Corypheus steps into the sunlight, we will be rewarded. Praise him. Praise Corypheus. From a scrap of parchment, evidently notes for a speech. Yeah, that definitely sounds like people who are trying to summon a demon.
So why does the Master want this Hawk Lady anyway?
It is not our place to question.
Does it have something to do with the key? Didn't it belong to somebody, Hawk?
I really don't want to bring this up, Hawk, but, do you smell something? Sort of like rotten meat?
That's never something you want to smell anywhere at any time. The Great One's key. The Warden did not guard the key with care. It was left in a repository with objects of little worth. Trinkets, dusty Grey Warden trophies, not even a guard posted. Fools. If only they knew what they had and had lost. It will not wake at my touch. It sleeps and its power remain within. The Great One says it requires Malcolm Hawk's blood to awaken it. Only then can its powers set him free. I will find the heir to the blood and the Great One will reward me. Yes, let it be soon.
A key? To something of father's? He wouldn't want a bunch of dwarven thieves to get their hands on it.
If this has to do with your father, we'd better get our hands on this key.
They're a little more than dwarven thieves, my bro. They're kind of dwarven cultists now. A bit worse, all things considered.
The Hawk's blood. The Master will rise. He will be free.
Garav?
Varric? No one told me you would be part of this. We were just going after the Hawk.
Why has the Carter been attacking me?
I can't say. The Master must be free.
Really, Garav? I thought better of you than this. I mean, gutting the occasional competitor for fun and profit, that's the game. But what are you all even doing here? Worshipping demons?
We drink the Darkspawn blood. He calls us.
Why would you do that? Won't you just die?
It's the only way to hear the music.
Oh, come on, you nug licker. Snap out of it. There's no gold in hallucinating.
Manners, Varric. Introduce me to your lunatic friend.
Hawk, this is Garav. He's a greedy, brilliant bastard son of a nug from the Carter. Garav, this is Hawk. The one whose blood you want to drink or bathe in or whatever. But I got to warn you, you catch diseases that way.
The Master is calling. He needs the blood.
Garav, buddy, this isn't like you. Look, I've still got Bianca. Never misfired a day in her life. You don't want her to see her papa like this, do you?
Varric, you want to spare this bastard?
Not if he's after you, Hawk. Bianca, I think it's time to say goodbye. Reinforcements, you bastard!
So this plays out a bit differently if you do not have Varric with you. And of course, deferring to him adds more friendship because you trust his judgment in regards to this person he knows. And you will actually find a note on Garav, but you can only access that note if Varric isn't around. And you'll find out why soon, because this fight's over.
Messing with us? You poor, stupid bastard. I used to do business with the Carter, back in the day. Garav was a nutcase then too, but in a good way. He was trying to design a new type of repeating crossbow. Bianca was the only one that ever worked. I can't believe he ended up like that.
And right when Varric bent down like that, he checked Garav's body and he took the note off of it. You can still loot it, but as you loot it, the note's not there now. Because Varric's already taken it, but left everything else. But it basically tells how he helped invent Bianca, the first repeating crossbow, which is basically a gun. So we're getting close to steampunky already, which I really don't mind.
Hawk, they told me you were going to be trouble. And look, you brought the whole family. How generous. I swore to Corypheus we'd bring him Malcolm Hawk's blood, one way or the other.
What does this have to do with my father?
The Master wants you. I don't ask why.
So, it's Corypheus who's after me?
What Corypheus wants, Corypheus gets. From us, or from someone.
Whatever this Corypheus is after, it stops now.
Corypheus, we have done as you command. Your sacrifice is here. You will see the surface once more.
Alright, the most difficult part about this fight is gonna be that Bronto because it's big and it's tanky and it does a lot of damage and can cause interrupts on your team. But the other issue is all these dudes up here on this balcony that are just constantly shooting arrows at you, and that will take out your health so fast if you don't deal with them right away. So the Bronto and like his dwarf buddy are kind of put there to seem like the main focus of the fight, but you want to take out the ads first. Otherwise, you will not survive against them. So the best thing to do is to just immediately come up here, try to get your tank to keep the Bronto off of you while you deal with, or have your DPS deal with, all of the dudes up here. They don't have too much health, so they should be easy to take out fairly quickly. But it can also take a lot of time. So I put a paralysis glyph down there to try and like help out. Because right now we are dual tanking with Fenris and Carver. And they are not built to be the most damage taking tanks. They're built more for DPS, but between the two of them they should be okay. So they're almost done up here. Just a few more dudes. And Carver and Fenris are lasting a bit longer because Varric and Hawk have now taken more aggro away from them that the archers would have been shooting them with while they were dealing with our two chunky boys down there. So now it's time to basically go and get heals and stuff done on everyone. Do maintenance. There's one last dude up here shooting away. But Varric's down there doing DPS and assisting. I have him set up to throw a... what is it? A smoke grenade anytime he sees party members get below a certain amount of health to de-aggro them for a bit, just long enough to get heals on them. And there goes the Bronto. And see, he goes down pretty quickly with everyone on him. And fight over.
What the...
What is this? I can feel it inside me.
That was Father's. And it changes. I don't understand.
This is going to take me to Corypheus.
So we now have the Hawk's Key. And as you say, there's a few traps around here that you can activate during the boss fight, but that would be difficult to do and not hit your party members as well. So I tend to just not bother with it. So the Hawk's Key is a special weapon for the DLC, and it will change depending on what class your Hawk is. So if you are a warrior, it's gonna be like, I think a two-handed blade or like a single blade. And then if you're a rogue, it'll be like daggers and stuff. If you're a mage, it's of course a staff, so that you are able to use it no matter what class you are. And it is story related, and as Hawk said, it will lead you to Corypheus, and it is kind of the key to progress further into the deep roads here to go after Corypheus. And down we go.
Those sons of bitches. The whole blasted thing's sealed over.
I guess we should have seen that coming.
Yeah, you really should have.
Will you look at that thing? What do you suppose is in there?
Nothing good, Varric. Nothing good. Cause hey, look, it's Darkspawn. Ah, who would have guessed?
And they wonder why I prefer the surface.
So if you've noticed so far, every time we encounter enemies, they end up running further into this little compound, and then it goes deeper underground where they will bait us into a
Whatever
trap.
we find, I don't want this getting back to Mother.
Keeping secrets, brother.
She's worried enough. What good will it do her to know this kind of thing is in our blood?
Maybe she knew.
And she kept it to herself for good reason. Whatever we find, we need to bury it.
And after each fight, they will go and run away from you, or a few of them, whoever survive, will run away and have you chase them deeper in. So it seems clear that each kind of group of people you fought were already kind of prepared to die, as the cults often do, to lead you further towards whatever plan they currently have. And this is our first official close-up look at the newly designed Genlocks from Dragon Age Origins. As before, they were kind of standing more upright with their designs. Now they have much longer arms and bigger arms, who have been walking on their knuckles now, like gorillas. I do like that they're more different than the Hurlocks now, even if just slightly, and they're also still like that stout shortness to them, because they are supposedly what happens when you have dwarven broodmothers.
Be bound here for eternity, hunger stilled, rage smothered, desire dampened, pride crushed. In the name of the Maker, so let it be.
And that's your first encounter hearing Malcolm Hawke's voice. So there's a tiny bit of a puzzle here. Nothing crazy. You just gotta find those seals, activate them, and eventually you'll get to the last one. And now a fight will start. With a particularly strong demon. These fights are pretty easy. These demons can be a little bit tougher to take out. This first one's not so bad, but far from the most difficult of fights that you'll face in the DLC. And I'm kind of glad that they aren't super difficult, considering other parts. It's nice to have a little bit of a break from tough battles. And a lot of this is more story-oriented anyway than supposedly to be a challenge gameplay-wise.
I can do nothing about the Warden's use of demons in this horrid place. But I will have no one say any magic of mine ever released one into the world.
Who was that? I feel like I know that voice.
It sounded like Father, but how?
I forget the actual ages they were when Malcolm died, but I believe Carver and Bethany were still super, super young. Like toddlers or something. So the only one who would fully remember, like Malcolm as well, that well, would be just Hawke themselves. Privilege to the Wardens. All we hear is that this is one of the Great Warden secrets. It must be protected at all costs. As usual, we're most concerned with the deceiving our own people. But why hide the deep roads were shaped not only by the dwarves, but also by us? I found records dating back to 1004 TE, the wake of the first Blight. Early Wardens discovered that some Darkspawn could think and speak and command portions of the Horde even after the Archdemon's death. A few could wield magic with the skill of Tevinter Magister, and the Wardens greatly feared them. It was here, in the Vindmark Mountains, that Warden Chasimiri set her trap to capture and study the greatest of these creatures, the one whom they called Corypheus. So the deep roads were first created by the dwarves, but later on, the deep roads were further expanded with the assistance of the Grey Wardens. So it wasn't like the Wardens created the deep roads alongside the dwarves at the same time, because the Grey Warden Order and the whole blood drinking to become tainted and whatnot happened way after. The dwarves had already had their own community underground and got screwed over by the Darkspawn. In case that was unclear from this little note.
The key! Did they find it? The dwarves. I heard them. Looking, digging. How do you bring the key here?
You mean this? How is this a key?
Magic. Old magic it is. Magic from the blood. It made the seals. It can destroy them.
I came in here to find Corypheus. Do you know where or what he is?
Do not say his name. He will hear you. Do not wake him. Not when you hold the key.
Let me guess. You want to drink my blood too?
Blood? The blood of the hawk? Are you the hawk? Yes, I smell magic on you. But you hold the key to his death. Yes, I can show you out, yes.
Who are you? What's wrong with you?
You ask me that? I'm the one who belongs here, not you. You are no Darkspawn.
I know that armor. That's Grey Warden issue.
Wardens? Yes. Guardians against the Blight. I know the way out. Follow me. Down and in, down and in.
Because I always like to follow the advice of tainted, crazy people.
Not crazy. No. Trust me. I know the prison's secrets. The seals hold us in. Anything comes in. Nothing ever leaves. Not without the key. You must use it, yes. On the seals. Every seal. You touch the key to it. Only then they open. Only for the hawk. Not back. Not up. Only way out is down and through the heart. Down. Down in the depths.
Are we going to listen to that freak?
We don't really have a choice, Carver. At least not yet. Yeah, that dude's tainted as all get out. He's struggling. He big struggling. The fact that he is still alive and can speak words and isn't dead is insane all on its own to even fathom, let alone see. That he's still just existing down here. Because this happens like 20, 30 something years ago. And this dude's still just chilling in the deep roads. Like everything is fine. The Grey Warden's prison in Vindmark Mountains is believed to have been constructed more than 1,000 years ago. The original method of construction has been lost to history, but the Warden commander of the Free Marchers have maintained the prison's secret through the centuries. The prison is concealed in a great rift in the Vindmark Mountains, far from easily traveled mountain passes. The Wardens themselves have spread rumors of banditry and beasts to prevent explorers from approaching. The prison consists of a central tower built into the rift with magically maintained bridges, allowing access at different levels, each level sealed by blood magic ritual in which a mage of untainted blood uses his own life essence to create a magical barrier that is permeable from the outside yet impregnable from within. This one-way access has caused other Darkspawn and perhaps unweary travelers to be caught within the prison's confines. Those who disappear inside never re-emerge. Seems severe, but necessary once we figure out more about what's going on here. Now we are at the first seal that must be broken in order to get to where we need to go and get through the barriers. And each one of these seals contains a guardian, which is basically just a pride demon. Very tough pride demon that has a lot of hard-hitting moves, but there's only one that you have to be super careful of. It also will do this thing where it will split into multiple versions of itself, and you have to find the correct version and attack that one. Okay, see that circle right there? Move out the way. Usually what you'd want to do is pause and as soon as you see the circle and move all of your party members out of the way, because it's basically like a very big version of the psychic prison move that mages know, and it will trap whoever's in there in that little vortex and do damage over time, and they can't move. So it takes them out of the fight, plus it does damage to whoever gets stuck in there.
Let me guess. The first seal?
2,000 years the magic holds. Never broken. Give it the key. Let it take the magic back to itself. Absorb it. All who came before.
So this is a super cool mechanic that I really enjoy. You can use the Hawk's Key to absorb one of these pillars that gives it a bonus ability. So all of these have different elemental damages. So you can kind of customize this weapon a little bit depending on like what you choose or how you're building your character. So it's really cool how it adapts to different playstyles even more. Because a lot of games, they'll give you a very specific good weapon if you're playing a very specific way with your character. But this kind of lets you customize it however.
The blood works. It is good.
All this talk about my blood is a little creepy. Are you at least planning to tell me your name?
Name? So long since I've said my name. Larius. I was Larius. There was a title too. Commander. Commander of the Grey. I am dead. But I never died.
How does a warden end up like this? I thought you were immune to the taint.
The calling. It comes to us all. The voice we can't resist. Our death.
If you're a warden, then do you know what just happened? What does the seal have to do with my blood?
The magic. It calls to the blood, reads the thoughts of those who hold it. The last to hold it. The Hawk. I was there when he laid the seals. Before I became this. You favor him. Corypheus calls. In the darkness. What waits there?
You know very well what waits there, sir. So, Larius is an interesting character because it seems that the Grey Warden taint at least helps people to regain their own consciousness once it starts to take over. So if a normal person gets tainted by the Darkspawn blood, they will immediately die, usually, because it just poisons them. Or they become kind of ghoulified. And I think that also has to do with like delirium. Yeah, you know, we have these Genlock alphas. They've given them these giant shields that were used in Tevinter by multiple dudes. So I think they said like 3 guys would carry these shields and use them to kind of deflect against magic and other things. And this one Genlock alpha can carry it like all on his lonesome. And it's also a bit bigger than a regular Genlock too. The charge does do a big chunk of damage, but you can walk out of its range if you move out of the range fast enough, and it'll run right by you, and then you can kind of get behind it and attack it without the shield getting in the way.
That is one seriously heavy-looking shield.
There must be more seals ahead.
There's about 3 more seals ahead. And then some other types of puzzles that we have to contest with, which aren't too bad. They're actually a little fun. The first time.
Did you feel something when you opened that seal?
It seems your blood is special, Hawk. Why am I not surprised?
Is it just me, or is Larius a few bricks short of a wall?
I enjoy that their idle, if you click on them, dialogue changes as you progress the story. That's nice. It really helps to make the world just feel a little bit more alive. Gives the characters a bit more chance to show their personalities.
That Larius. That's what people become if they are corrupted. I mean, they showed us ghouls before Ostagar. But never live. Never talking. That's never happening to me.
I'll check under your bed when we get home.
You do that. Get the laundry while you're at it.
Such nice little sibling banter.
Be bound here for eternity. Hunger stilled, rage smothered, desire dampened, pride crushed. In the name of the Maker, so let it be.
So, fought a bunch of demons. And this one it's the Sloth Demon? Or Abomination? Hard to tell because Sloth was also depicted in this one in Origins. Yeah, I skipped the fights before this because it's a lot of just the same thing. They all gather up in one spot, so it makes AoEs very useful in this little section. If you release the next seal.
I may have left the circle, but I took a vow. My magic will serve that which is best in me, not that which is most base.
That which is best in me. Father used to say that, didn't he? To you and Bethany. She never felt like she could live up to him.
I hope they're together, wherever they are. Talking about magic. Gossiping about us.
Well, the camera position making the voices sound differently through, you know, the speakers and headphones is nice. It does make it a bit difficult to hear characters sometimes. And to get the correct position to have it like the loudest, which can be a bit annoying. I would honestly just like prefer it not do that, even if it does add a little bit to the atmosphere. It doesn't add enough.
How deep does this hole go?
The sooner we find our way out of here, the better.
Did you feel something when you opened that seal?
This is the updated version of the Hurlock Alphas. They do look quite a bit different from the regular Hurlocks. So we've been seeing them, the newer versions of those, since the beginning of Dragon Age 2. but they now have these stronger versions of the alphas. Have gotten a little bit of a makeover. They're still not super tough, they're just very tanky. They've got a few extra hammer moves, as you just saw. But still fairly easy to deal with. If you just take out the ones around them, the other regular Hurlocks, and then just completely unload everything you got on him.
How about you?
And just taking a lot of hammer hits to the face though, but he's fine. He survived it. Crown of Dumat. The writing on this ancient parchment is barely legible, but it appears to concern a rite of silence. In reverence, you will approach the altar, know that you come into the presence of Dumat. With head bowed, say, "Blessed are you, Dumat, silent and strong, secret and wise. We bring you gifts, sacrifices to your greatness." We're gonna mess with that later. An unusual discovery. The creature can speak. It has a name, Corypheus. We have encountered Darkspawn before who use words, but none individual enough to have chosen a name. This Corypheus appears unique among Darkspawn and has gathered many of its brethren to follow it. It would be wasteful to kill such a creature. If it can be captured, tamed somehow, its unnatural influence over the Darkspawn could perhaps be turned to our favor. It is clear Darkspawn will never bow to human commands, but this Corypheus seems at times more human than beast. I have conversed with it, and though its thoughts are disordered and inhuman, it speaks of the old gods by their Treventor names. I have wondered if perhaps he is no Darkspawn at all, but a ghoul, so corrupted by the taint as to have become a new creature entirely. I recommend we find a way to capture Corypheus, hold it somehow safe from both men and Darkspawn, and study its unique nature. This will require magic, however, for Corypheus' own abilities are powerful. It uses spells humans and tainted, and has strength that could shame any magister. We must muster our best mages to face it and to hold it. From Warden Commander Farrell to the First Warden Weishaupt. They were messing around with things they should not. And the Grey Wardens are kinda the reason this is a problem now. Unfortunate.
Be bound here for eternity. Hunger stilled, rage smothered, desire dampened, pride crushed. In the name of the Maker, so let it be. I've bought our freedom, Leandra. We can go home now. Us and the baby. We'll be together. I hope it takes after you, love. I would wish this magic on no one. May they never learn what I've done here.
Father didn't want a child with magic. He got that one wrong twice over. He can't have meant it. Sure, he respected my name. But you and Bethany were the favorites, weren't you?
You can't believe that.
Maybe not. But you had your little guild and I didn't really meet the requirements. I suppose he knew it would be dangerous for you. The Templars were the least of the problems. Bethany didn't like it. Did you know? She wished she was normal, like me.
Sounds like the only one arguing about it is you.
I suppose so. It's just... it's hard to think about how much has gone. As far as we get, they're still gone. I'm tired of losing things. All of this. It doesn't matter. We need to stay together. For them.
And through that we get a plus 15 to Carver's friendship. And you get a lot of closure between Hawke and Carver for this moment, where he stops being so upset about being the only kid of the Hawke family that wasn't born with magic, after learning that wasn't actually their father's preference, and he would have preferred that his magic not be passed on to his kids just because of all the trouble it had actually caused him before. And the whole reason they were on the run is because the relationship between Malcolm Hawke and Leandra was not approved of because she could not keep her title and be married to a mage. So everything just kind of went to heck from there, and they had to get out of Kirkwall. And to get safe passage out of Kirkwall, he basically had to team up with the Wardens in order for them to be free and escape to Lothering. Dumat's sacrificial dagger. The writing on this ancient parchment is barely legible, but it appears to concern a rite of silence. Raise your face and hands to the skies and speak the words, O Dumat, or Lord of Silence, accept the sacrifice made in your name. Grant us power and all that we seek. Altar of Dumat. Deal with it later.
He is waking. The magic grows lax. He feels us walk where no step goes.
Are you talking about Corypheus?
He calls, like an old god. He mimics their cry. He calls them to free him. The dark children and the light, any with taint in their blood.
If Corypheus isn't an old god, what is he? Human? Demon? Darkspawn?
More than darkspawn. More than human. He thinks. He talks. He pierces the veil. He wants what was once his.
How could this Corypheus be sending people after me if he's asleep?
He can call, dream, but not know. When the seals are gone, he will wake. And he must die.
Why are you down here? How have you survived?
The calling, the music. It is our death. I lived, but I died. The corruption feeds me. So many years in darkness.
When you run off, where do you go?
I know the darkness before the seals. Here, the voice is too strong. I cannot stay.
So it seems like Corypheus' power is stronger in certain areas than others. So he's running to the different areas where Corypheus is still kind of sealed, because every time we undo a seal, he gets a bit stronger and is causing Homeboy more issues. And now we're deeper in to the deep roads. Deep stalkers. Lovely.
Bloody voices in here. I'm sure of it.
This place is giving me a headache.
Did you hear that?
So now everybody hearing voices. And it could be Corypheus, or it could be a demon, because we have been finding a lot of stuff about Dumat lately. One of these two things is causing trouble for our team. We fought a bunch of deep stalkers, so you didn't miss much.
That looks like Legion of the Dead armor. It's an Orzammar thing. No matter your crime, if you join the Legion and vow to die fighting Darkspawn, your name is cleared.
We met with them in Dragon Age Origins. First Legionnaire's Journal. It's ironic. Hearing of Tethras Garen's crime first gave me the courage to confess my own and join the Legion of the Dead. Knowing that a Paragon's son could give in to the same base passions as a mere merchant, comment a murder even fouler than mine. Yet he was sentenced to die in the deep rails for murdering his sister, not even offered a chance at the Legion. I am grateful every day for what the Legion gave me, a family, a purpose, and my name is clear. So when the Paragon learned that the Carta were responsible for the murder, not his son, I was the first to volunteer to retrieve the prince. It's not right that he should be the only one who doesn't know he's been exonerated. Journal of Malev Haran, Legion of the Dead.
Legion of the Dead, sent after Paragon Garen's heir. Why does that sound familiar? I think Garen was sometime in the early Exalted Age, hundreds of years ago.
Do you think they found him?
Who knows?
So this story is echoing the situation in Dragon Age Origins that you face when you go through as the Dwarven Noble, of being accused of murdering your sibling and then just being sent off to die in the deep roads. And that you also don't get a chance to join the Legion of the Dead either. You just get kind of abandoned out there, and Duncan finds you. Second Legionnaire's Journal. Paragon Garen refuses to give up. We're the 8th Legion unit he sent after Tethras in the past 5 years. None dare tell him that after so long alone in the deep roads, Tethras is certainly dead. The Paragon insists he will see his heir restored to his rightful place. May the ancestors favor his cause. We followed the paths of the other Legionnaires, and so far we seem to be on the right trail. We're in a section of the deep roads that appears to have been altered by human magic, so perhaps we'll find some new clue here. We're going in tomorrow. Ancestors be with us. Carlos Aratak.
That's where I know the name. Tethras Garen should have been the heir to the Garen clan. But he was accused of killing his sister and sent into the deep roads to die. When the real murderer was caught, they tried to find him. They never could. Instead, every Garen heir from that time on took the name Tethras in his honor. One of them became a paragon in his own right, and founded my clan.
I'm sorry. This is a hard way to learn about your family.
So this was one of your ancestors?
Not directly, but a little closer than I like to come to my past, you know.
So the interesting takeaway that I got from that was they said this part of the deep roads was made by magic. They say human magic, but they're assuming that it was human magic. Well, you don't know that for sure, because humans aren't the only ones that can use magic. And we've seen Darkspawn that are capable of magic. We've seen elves that are capable of magic. And we got whatever situation Sandal is dealing with. So, all you really know is that this, tunnels were not made by traditional means.
How can anything live here? What do the Darkspawn feed on?
That's a good question, but I'm guessing it is either deep stalkers, possibly nugs, but I doubt it. And this is just it's the same thing. It's just telling you what to do at the altar. And then there's also, people who get lost down in the deep roads. And other Darkspawn.
We should do something about those torches.
This is a puzzle. It's basically you click one and other ones, that one and then some other ones will turn on and it'll make others turn off. It's one of these ones. I don't know the actual name of this type of puzzle, but it's in a few different things. I've seen it in a lot of video games. It's very simple. My way of solving these puzzles is usually to press things at random until it just kind of works. This is very easy to brute force if you got the time. I honestly don't remember if I get this. Did I get this just the first try? From guessing. Yeah, I got it from guessing. See, you just gotta brute force it. It's fine. And for doing all that, you get a nice chunk of gold and cursed gloves. They aren't actually cursed, but they're cursed.
Blessed are you, Dumat, silent and strong, secret and wise. Accept these offerings and share your strength.
This whole area is just full of spooky voices. So here's the Altar of Dumat, where we can place all of the items we found throughout the area so far. But we don't deal with no demons in this household. And of course, Fenris approves of this. And yeah, it's not that bad of a fight. It's a rage demon. Nothing crazy. A couple rage demons. I've completely forgotten what you actually get from this quest if you do side with the demon and do the ritual. It gives you something. It just escapes me. Yeah, this is easy enough to deal with. And you don't release another demon into the world. Especially very close to Kirkwall. Third Legionnaire's Journal. This place is cursed. For 10 years, Paragon Garen has been sending Legionnaires to search out our lost heir. Now I know what's become of them. There's no way out. This is no normal part of the Deep Roads. There's lyrium worked into the walls, into the stone itself, some kind of human magic. From the outside, it looks like just another tunnel. But walk in and it's a prison. There's no way past the barriers, no way forward, no way back. The trap remains open to every beast, darkspawn, dwarf that wanders in. My brothers in the Legion have died, and I have done my best to lay their spirits to rest in the stone. I am the last. There will be no one to do the same for me, or for Tethras. If he too was snared by this news, for you, my prince, I wish you Stone's blessing. Atras Tancha, Tutanari Engetal Toast Aduk.
A ritual? Let's take this with us.
Except this ritual probably won't summon a demon. No promises, but not as likely when it comes to dwarves.
I can't imagine Lothering looking like this.
What a silly comment. Why would Lothering look this way? Lothering isn't underground.
Atras Tunsha. Totania Amegtol Tavash Iduk.
That was sweet, Hawk. Now let's get out of here before you see me cry.
Yeah, I pronounced that all wrong. I don't know why Hawk was the one to do that, and not Varric. You think Varric would have took the lead there, but maybe he was just too emotional to deal with what was going on. But yeah. Problem solved, quest resolved. Okay. Speculations on Kirkwall. The records say Corypheus has been trapped below the Vindmark since the days of the Tevinter Imperium. Can it be a coincidence that the Darkspawn besieged this area more fiercely than anywhere else on the surface of Thedas? Or that Kirkwall, the closest city, suffers from endless plagues of violence, lunacy, human sacrifice, and blood magic? If one studies Kirkwall's public records, it becomes hard to deny that some malevolent force has long shaped its history. Could a Darkspawn, even a powerful mage, have such influence even as it slumbers? Further journal bearing the Grey Warden seal. So that's basically confirmation that Kirkwall is garbage and terrible for a reason. Because super evil is just kind of nearby and underneath it. Which is quite interesting because if this can happen in Kirkwall, then that means it can happen in other places too. And other points of time. So now it calls into question if there's ever like a city or place where people are just kind of wild in. If there's some like ancient evil that's just kind of infecting the air around it. There's no like specific areas that come to mind just off the top of my head. Maybe possibly Haven, because there was a whole dragon cult underneath it. But nothing just instantly comes to mind as to another place where like an ancient evil slumbering beneath it causes issues. Unless there was like something happening near Lothering. That's why it was the first place to be attacked. But they were just kind of chilling up until the Blight started. As far as I know.
It's not doing anything.
But it does kind of reinforce the fact that Kirkwall is like the very worst place Hawk could have went with their family. Even though it was kind of Leandra who was like, hey, we have family in Kirkwall, we can go there to escape the Blight. And they just kind of went into a horrible nightmare hellscape of a town. And it causes many, many difficulties for Hawk's entire family, as we will see as the game progresses. But, you know, we'll get there when we get there.
He feels the seals weaken. He knows you are close. You must be ready. What's that? Who? No! No! They're here!
Who is they? The Carter?
No, worse. More treacherous, more dangerous. The Wardens. They listen to Corypheus. They want to bring him the light. Stop them. You must stop them.
Something's happening. The prison's breaking down. But it stood up to tunneling before. What can... You have the key. And you've come through the seals. But how? Can you be Hawke, the child of Malcolm? The Carters said they were close. You must be her. I am Janica. I lead this unit of Grey Wardens.
Why is everyone so interested in Father?
Then you don't know. Without Malcolm, this prison would have fallen 30 years ago.
Let me guess, it had something to do with this fancy thing?
The Grey Wardens built this prison to contain one of the most powerful Darkspawn we've ever encountered. But even the best magic fades. The Wardens need to reinforce the seals. This requires the blood of a mage untainted by Warden training. The last to perform the ritual was your father.
My father was a blood mage.
To avert the blights, forbidden magics are sometimes necessary.
Every wretched mage. Even Father. None of them can hold back.
He did not bind the demons, if that is your concern. That was done in another era, before the Chantry's laws.
Why do my family stories never involve embarrassing vacations in Antiva?
We need your help, Hawke. I have done extensive research on this Darkspawn, and I believe the original Wardens were wrong. He isn't a threat to humanity. He's our greatest opportunity. A Darkspawn who can talk, feel, reason.
Corypheus cares nothing for blights. He used you.
The Warden Commander?
Don't listen to this creature. He's half Darkspawn himself. I know how to harness Corypheus. Use his magic to end the blights.
No. The Wardens knew. Corypheus is too powerful.
Are you really going to take her opinion over Father's? He wanted this thing locked up.
Worth the risk. If he doesn't help, it's one more big Darkspawn to stick a bolt in. No big deal.
A Darkspawn and a mage. Just what the world needs.
Corypheus calls her, and she listens. She brought him the Carter, sent them for you.
You must help us.
Why would this Darkspawn want to end the Blights?
He's no mindless monster. This search for the old gods comes at a terrible cost to his people.
He tricked you. These are not your thoughts. They are his calling.
How many of them died in Ferelden alone? And that was the least of the blights.
How could you trust any deal this Darkspawn makes with you?
Do not think me foolish, Hawke. I am making no deal. I have a spell which can control Corypheus. Bind him to my will. He will be a new, important weapon in the war on the Blights. No more, no less.
Are you talking about using blood magic?
Everything that was done to him was through the power of blood. The Wardens imprisoned Corypheus before the Chantry banned such magic. It is the only way to hold him.
A convenient excuse.
Corypheus may be as great a threat as the next Blight. We can't risk freeing him.
We'll find a way to do this with or without you, Hawk. This prison will be broken. The Blight will end. Come.
With me! We will beat them to the seal!
I can't remember if it's around this time or later on in the DLC, but if you have Anders with you, he will turn on you for a small moment because Justice starts freaking out.
This was part of the prison's defenses from centuries ago. Old wards, unstable, dangerous. The wardens had them neutralized. Bringing them back to life will stall Janika.
So we got more smaller puzzles. The DLCs for this game are very big on puzzles, I think because a lot of people said there wasn't enough. I think that was some of the feedback they got, so they tried to incorporate more into the actual DLC.
Back. Only onward, forward to Corypheus. There is no going back. Only onward, forward to Corypheus.
That's what happens if you tried to go back to whence you came. He starts losing his mind. So hope you did everything you needed to do before this point, because it is definitely a point of no return.
I can't wait to wipe that smug smile off her face.
Do not touch anything. The old defenses are active again. Very unpredictable, very dangerous.
There! That's the one Janika wants dead.
You do Janika's bidding.
Janika shared knowledge of Corypheus with the Carta. When she releases the Master, we will be rewarded.
Did Janika really think you could kill me?
We may die here, but we will take you with us.
No! Don't!
To arms, and pray that Corypheus honors our sacrifice!
This feels like a very weird way to force you into a puzzle room. But as you can see along the walls and the little flag thing there, you see the Grey Warden's symbol. Why they decided to just kind of put their emblem everywhere, ensuring anyone that got here knew it was them, is weird. But okay.
Trapped. Carter fools, always where they don't belong. This shouldn't have happened.
Don't worry, we'll find a way out.
Yes. Think. There must be a way. I was here once before. A long time ago. The magic flows in streams. They must be joined for the way to open. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, this puzzle is not very difficult, luckily. Just kind of look around, see where you need to turn everything so that it lines up, but it is the first one in a series of puzzles like this. So you can brute force them, but it's a little bit easier to still look around.
Quickly now. We have a ways to go yet. The Hawk was fascinated by the old construction. Always stopping to examine the carvings. A learned man.
The Helm of Weishaupt. The Labyrinth has claimed Warden Commander Aster. Ulrich tampered with one of the magical seals in this place and unwittingly released a demon upon us. Commander Aster ordered us to run. He would hold the creature back while we activated the prison's defenses, trapping them both. The barriers came up, and they will stay up. This was Commander Aster's last instruction, and we will follow it to the letter. We are unable to retrieve the Warden Commander's prized helm and the other trappings of his office. They will not be returned to Weishaupt and will remain with the Commander, wherever he may be. From a torn Grey Warden report, the writing barely legible. Locks within locks. The Wardens set up a trap for Corypheus and bound him in a prison of their own making. Beneath the free marches, they carved out a series of caverns, a veritable maze, and enchanted them. Words within words, locks within locks, spells woven with the help of a powerful artifact they called the Key. All this to hold Corypheus. It seems that even that wasn't enough. Warden Commander Rhiannon writes in her private journal, Corypheus is too powerful, nothing will hold him forever. The seals are already weakening. We must find a way to fortify them, and soon. So yeah, they messed up. They were like, we can just, hold this thing back. We don't need to, kill it. So we'll just put it here. But the whole issue is, Corypheus has a little bit of a quirk that makes it so the Wardens cannot kill him. And it's kind of the opposite problem, or opposite situation that they have with the Archdemon.
Weeks down here, working together. He never liked me. Too much bad blood.
Change of course. I was wrong. We cannot control the creature, Corypheus. Even our most powerful mages hold no influence with him. In truth, it is they who have been most vulnerable. A dozen times, those assigned to guard or study the creature have sought the key to free him. When they are removed to a safe distance, they remember little. They speak of a voice in their minds, a calling like that of the old gods, but it wanes outside of Corypheus' presence. Darkspawn have attacked as well, seeking him. I can only assume they are summoned the same way. Somehow his magic lets him speak through their blight itself, afflicting any who bear its taint. The same power stays the head of any warden who approaches to kill him. I must recommend that we seal this prison over and conceal its very existence. Corypheus must not be allowed to go free. Warden Commander Denikin, first warden in Weishaupt. So what I don't understand is why the wardens didn't seek out other people to go and kill Corypheus. Because there's gotta be a way. Like, it affects wardens and mages. What if you just got people who weren't wardens and mages who were powerful enough to, take him out? It's like, he is not invincible. He's just kind of something they weren't expecting to encounter.
Did you really think those old wards would stop me? Look at you. Barely able to string two thoughts together. You've only made it this far because of Hawke.
You can still turn away. Do not listen to his voice.
You're a fool, Larius. And you should have died here years ago.
So there was a bit of a mess up and my recording just kind of stopped and I missed a chunk of kind of exploration and fighting, but we're right before the big boss fight now, and yeah, I kind of lost that other footage, but oopsie doopsie, wasn't anything too important, so it's fine.
You're too late, Larius. Hand over Hawke, and I'll give you a quick death.
Hawke has made her choice. The right one.
The right choice or the only choice? Malcolm Hawke was not allowed to disagree.
It is the past. It doesn't matter.
Larius, what does Janica mean by not allowed?
How does she know this? Alec, did you tell her? Malcolm Hawke was reluctant. Had to be persuaded. I was Warden Commander. It was my duty. I delivered an ultimatum. Help us, or you'll never see her again.
You did what?
You were going to kill our mother.
No, never. He came with us. I never had to decide her fate. She was never told about what passed between Malcolm and me.
That doesn't excuse it.
You see, Hawk? How can you trust anything Larius says?
Larius's threats were reprehensible, but he's still right about Corypheus.
You can come willingly or not, Hawk. I just need your blood.
I feel like this is such a weird placement for a fight. It's basically a mini-boss, but it's directly before the main boss battle. It's not super difficult, it can be pretty hard, because they had a pretty even team on the Warden side. But, yeah, it's just odd. I feel like there should have been, like, more in between this fight with the Wardens to when you actually fight Corypheus. I did have to do some healing. Be a little bit more focused on the fight, but took them out pretty quickly. Despite that.
He stirs. Slay him now before he wakes, before his strength comes. The key. It's not strong enough. Use your blood. Free him and slay him.
Look, that seems to have weakened the spell.
Just 3 more to go.
If we're doing this, let's get to it.
No time to stop. We must get to the prison.
So we're taking the crazy ghoul at his word? Sounds like fun.
You must hurry. Release him now.
Are you certain this is a good idea?
It takes Hawk blood to open his prison. I imagine he won't stop until he has what he wants.
Isn't that always the way with these ancient prisons?
You feel that? It's like something is lifting.
Be this some dream I wake from? Am I in dwarven lands? Why seem their roads so empty? You! Serve you at the Temple of Dumat? Bring me hence. I must speak with the first acolyte.
He speaks of the old gods, the Imperium.
You are no man. Do you belong to the Empire? Or be you of dwarven blood? How come you here? Whoever you be, you owe fealty to any Magister of Tevinter. On your knees. All of you.
You're a Darkspawn. Darkspawn. Ravaging the deep roads. Spreading the blight. Does this ring a bell?
You are what held me. I smell the blood in you. Dumat, Lord, Tell me, what waking dream is this? The light. We sought the golden light. You offered the power of the gods themselves. But it was black, corrupt, darkness, ever since. How long?
The Golden City. The first violation. The Magisters who brought the Blight.
The original Magisters? It is their depravities the Magisters of today strive to live up to. If they still exist, in any form, we should wipe them from the face of Thedas.
He tainted the world. He speaks to all who carry the corruption. Darkspawn and Wardens. He brought Janica here. Brought you.
If he's been calling the Wardens to free him, what's his plan? He seems confused.
He slept. While the seals held, he could not wake. He knows nothing of time that passed. We must kill him now, before he comes to.
First he went after the Maker in his house, then me in mine. I'm honored.
The city. It was supposed to be golden. It was supposed to be ours. If I cannot leave with you, I will leave through you. I seek the light. The Blood Lord. The blood is mine.
This fight can be pretty difficult. Nothing too crazy.
Piece of cake.
He does have quite a bit of strong magic and
Dumart.
attacks.
Grant me your powers.
Also, we saw a lot of Dumont stuff because he's kind of associated with that demon.
The fire in my veins. You cannot avoid my fires.
So as we touch all of those statues at the beginning, we gotta go touch them again, basically. And in between, you have to basically dart from statue to statue, activate them, and fight the demons inside.
You cannot harm me.
And this will repeat multiple times, but the biggest issue is your party members won't move out of the way on their own accord. So you usually have to control them or move as far into the corner as you can to get them to walk out of the way of danger.
Bastards using fire! We can't get caught in those flames.
And as you get caught in the flames again. That's okay, that's fine. As the fight continues, you do this a few times, and each time a new, I guess, element problem is introduced.
Get back!
Because there will be
And it is something more.
Alright, and then after you do one lap, he comes back down, and you can wail on him. After he takes a certain amount of damage, he will do it again.
The power is mine. I am Bristol. Scurry!
And now you can see rocks are
The
popping up.
maze closes in.
And because those rocks are up, it's going to be harder to navigate, which is a problem for the AI. The AI doesn't know quite how to deal with that. This resulted in a lot of party deaths because they could not find their way through the rocks, or they just get stuck. And after the rocks, we will get lightning. And lightning causes slightly more of an issue from navigating from spot to spot. But As long as you just kind of watch where you're going.
Find a way out, quick.
It's not too difficult to navigate through the walls yourself. Just for your rest of your party members. Make sure to try and keep health up. We're not taking too much damage from this as it's on an easier level. But on the harder modes, that fire does a lot of damage.
He's trying to trap us. Find a path.
How about you? There, line it up for me.
The face just kind of freeze in place for a bit. I don't know if that's an ability or not anymore. So just gotta focus on killing them. And we needed to stun him by getting off of some sort of whatever thing he had on him, but I got it done so fast that I didn't even notice whatever mechanic that was. I'm still not entirely sure what mechanic that was. Oh yeah, now he adds ice. So we got ice and lightning. And rocks. And fire. He's literally just throwing everything at us.
No! You are stronger than I thought, but not strong enough!
Yeah, he's getting defeated by a bunch of randos.
What is going on out there?
He summoned a storm around the entire tower. There has to be another way to do this.
There is no other way, Varric, I'm sorry. That's also a weird line to put there when you're doing exactly what you should be doing. Maybe it triggered from something else. But that would imply that you should try a different tactic during the fight. So maybe an ability was used that the shade thrown you into or something.
Something more!
Alright, this should
Is there
be the last one.
in the air?
His stupid jokes, oh my gosh. Is it the last one? Or no? Yeah? Last phase? Yeah, it looks like the last phase.
Run all you like! I can reach you anywhere!
Dude, you are the one that ran away from us to the other side of this arena.
Careful.
I wouldn't be talking so big. There we go. That seems like such an anticlimactic way to end that fight. He's just like, argh, and then just falls down.
You did well, Hawk. More than the Grey Wardens of old were able to accomplish. I will tell the Warden Commander of your service here. You've gained an ally today.
Why are you talking like that?
My head is clear now. Without Corypheus's call, I can think again. I thank you for my freedom.
And here I thought I just gained a headache.
I will never forget what you did here. The prison stands no more. My gratitude you have for my freedom.
I said you wouldn't believe me.
When the Seekers arrived at the structure, this prison, it was destroyed. The Grey Wardens were there, but they did not mention this Larius. They claimed everyone was dead. And now you claim the champion was not only there, but defeated a Magister. One of the Magisters of old.
Left there by the Wardens themselves.
A curious tale. I wonder if there's more to it.
Not yet. If I've learned anything, however, it's that everything catches up with us, sooner or later.
Fire! And stones falling. Boom!
Carver, dear, please.
Right. The important part is they won't be coming for us again. It was all about blood. About Father.
Oh, Malcolm, I can't believe. It's like he's still with us. But it's not true. Not really. He went through so much to protect us. I wish he had shared the burden.
How did the heir to the Amels ever meet a Ferelden apostate anyway?
Not by prowling the sewers, I hope.
He wasn't an apostate then. He was a junior enchanter in the Gallows, back when they would perform at the Viscount's functions. I'd always believed mages were grim old men in strange robes, but Malcolm was... He was such a wit. Never had a straight answer for anything, but... It was infuriating. And fascinating. We found ways to meet more privately after that.
Did you not want to go to Ferelden?
My parents made it clear that I had no future in Kirkwall with Malcolm. They threw me out, without a silver to my name. And of course, he came from the Circle with nothing. I never realized what he went through just to buy a safe passage.
You were the most important thing to him. You could hear that in every word he said.
I just wish he was still here. I've made such an utter muck of it since he's been gone.
He'd have had to run from the Blight too. Nothing was changing that.
He could have kept Bethany alive. I couldn't. I can't do this now. It's too hard, remembering a time before we'd lost anything. I don't know what to regret first.
Another messenger came by with a letter. It's on the desk.
I will talk to the Viscount about our estate.
I'm with you, sister. For now.
So that was Legacy. And we had a kind of heartfelt Locke family moment at the end. And with that done, we are prepared to enter the Deep Roads and finish off Act 1 after I do some inventory management, which I will cut out.